Angel Capers and her children were inside their Somerville home on August 4th, 2025. But suddenly, a gunshot shattered a sliding glass door, and a man forced his way into their home. First, shooting a male victim in the kitchen. Then, making his way upstairs, he shot and killed the mother of 3, Angel Capers.
She loves her kids, like she'll bend over backwards for them.
Witnesses identified the man as Jeremy Hewlett, Capers' ex-boyfriend. And once Hewlett was arrested, documents state he confessed to law enforcement that he murdered Capers.
It was a shock. I felt shattered, and I felt like I didn't get to say goodbye.
Michelle Capers was the youngest sister of Angel and says her sister served in the Army, was a devoted mother, and would always give her all to the people she loved.
What was kind of going through your head when you first got that call?
I was like, no, I'm going to get another call. This isn't true. I just never knew that she was going through that. If I knew she was going through that, I would have reached my hands out like, come on.
Historically, in the 90s and early 2000s, South Carolina was often in the top 10 states for women murdered by men. In more recent years, the Palmetto State has dropped down compared to the national average. But even with progress, the violence continues.
It's heartbreaking. We're also asking the question, like, why are the numbers going back up?
South Carolina domestic violence fatality reports show in 2024, 46 people were murdered by a household member. That's 16 more deaths than in 2023, and 10 more than 2022. Tasha Connors is the CEO of My Sister's House, a low-country domestic abuse shelter, and says intimate partner violence has continued to spiral over the years.
After COVID, it didn't feel like there was a leveling off period, and certainly not for our clients. So we've continued to see an increase in the severity of abuse that's happening, seeing a lot more emotional abuse, technological abuse.
Victims are told to contact law enforcement, ask for court orders, and create distance from offenders to protect themselves, all of which Angel Capers did, but she was still killed. In June of 2025, Capers requested an order of protection against Hewlett after she said he asked her minor daughter to show him her breasts, take a picture, and tried to pay her for it. Capers wrote, "My daughter is in fear for her life. He told me he is going to call his people. We don't feel safe around him." A week later, the court granted Capers' request and restrained Hewlett from any contact with her or the family.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of onus that's put back on the victim to keep themselves safe.
But on July 16th, Capers told the court that Hewlett violated the order of protection, with threatening texts and his mother even showing up with his car at her home. Capers told the court again of her concerns, saying that she changed the codes and locks on her doors, purchased more cameras, and even said she may need a firearm for her safety. Capers wrote, "Now that Jeremy's in Charleston, I'm really fearing for the safety of myself and my family."
She did not deserve that in any way, shape, or form. She did not deserve that.
A family court judge ordered Hewlett to appear before family court on August 4th, but that hearing never happened. That's the day Capers was murdered.
She was a human being who was doing everything she was told to do to keep herself safe. She was protecting her children. She was living her life, trying to do it in the safest way possible, and she took all of the steps that we tell people to take, and she still ended up dead. What kind of message does that send to other domestic violence victims?
In the hours leading up to Capers' murder, the Hanahan Police Department and North Charleston Police Department both responded to separate incidents involving Hewlett, but he was never arrested.
If you could say anything to him now, what would you tell him?
You took someone amazing away from this world. You didn't have to do that. If you knew something was going on with yourself, you should have reached out and got help.
If the legal system and law enforcement can't protect victims of domestic violence, who can? This year, State Senator Stephen Goldfinch introduced a bill looking to make coercive control over another person a crime. Coercive behavior means an act or pattern of assault, threats, humiliation, manipulation, or intimidation that is used to harm, punish, or frighten another person.
For years, decades, forever, South Carolina has taken a reactive approach to domestic violence. Coercive control in this bill just brings attention to it that allows us to take a proactive approach before somebody gets hurt or, God forbid, dies.
Proving coercive control was used can be difficult.
It is definitely more difficult to prove than bruises, black eyes, broken bones. It's not always about having the best evidence of a case, but sometimes you need attention and awareness in order to move society in the right direction. And I hope that this bill and eventually this law will do that.
I applaud them for taking the steps. I know oftentimes we see these bills and we're like, they don't go far enough. And most of them don't, frankly.
For domestic violence murders to actually decrease in South Carolina, Connors says everyone needs to directly pay attention to victims and be willing to put money and effort into creating systematic change.
I want to stand on a soapbox with a megaphone and just scream at everybody, I need you to pay attention to this now, right now. I don't know what else needs to change to get people to pay attention. Who else needs to be murdered?
But for Angel Caper's family, it's 7 months too late.
I think the hardest part for me was reaching out to my aunt and then us having to tell the news to my mom because my mom's blind. Where I broke down a lot at is seeing my mom when she stood up in her wheelchair and she felt Angel's face. It was hard because she didn't get to see her daughter again.
If you or a loved one are in need of resources in a domestic violence situation, contact My Sister's House's 24-hour domestic violence hotline at 800-273-4673. For Live 5 Investigates, I'm Emily Johnson.